Hi everyone, and welcome to this second season of Low Season Traveller Insider Guides. And indeed, this is our 100th episode. So sincere thanks to all of you for helping make this podcast such a success that it's been. I'm your host, Jed Brown, founder of Low Season Traveller, and this week we're delighted to be joined by the wonderful Ana Leal from Domitur Travel in Portugal. In this episode, we speak with Ana about her home location in the sunny Algarve region of southern Portugal, as well as the importance of sustainable and responsible tourism practices to the region. Let us know your thoughts on this episode once you've had a listen, as we think you're going to really enjoy it. Enjoy. So, Ana, good morning to you, and welcome to the Low Season Traveller Insider Guides podcast. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you. Hello, Jed. Nice to see you again, to be with you in this podcast, to have the opportunity to speak about my home place that I live, that is Algarve in Portugal, and I'm very happy to be here.
Wonderful. Now, just straight at the outset, a lot of our guests, sometimes it's their first time doing a podcast. Is this your first time? Are we your first, Ana?
Well, in reality, podcast has is, yes. I usually went several times to radio interviews,
Yeah.
but as a podcast, it's my first one. Yeah.
We have the honor of having you for the first time, and you have the honor, by the way, of being our first podcast, which we're releasing in 2021, and it's our 100th podcast, our 100th episode. So
Wow.
Thanks to you for that. We appreciate it.
So we need to celebrate.
Absolutely, we should. We should be getting some good Portuguese wine out, really, shouldn't we, Ana?
You know the good parts of Portugal. That's good.
Absolutely. So listen, Ana, at the outset, give us a little bit, or our listeners, a little bit of an introduction to yourself and a little bit of an introduction to Domitur, so that we know a little bit more about you.
Okay. So I'm Ana. I live in the Algarve. I was raised here in the Algarve, and I went to live abroad and to study in the center of Portugal, in Coimbra, when I went to the university. And mainly I was passing all my life around Portugal, but I also lived abroad. I lived in Africa. And I always had this taste about traveling because my parents also work in the travel industry. So since young, I was traveling a lot, and I was getting the sense of discovering new cultures and understanding how is important for us to see the differences and to gain and to be a richer person with that. But I was not working in the industry till 5 years ago. 6 years maximum. I was my degree is in psychology. I was working with kids till I decided to stop and to make a tour around the world.
Like you do.
And well, I did shortly. I visited a couple of countries, and then I decided to live also in Africa. It was a great experience. And when I came back to Portugal, my parents suggested me to join the company. The company, it's called Domitur, and I started to learn how to work on the travel industry, because even that I grew up with the travel industry behind, I never worked before. And I was invited because, well, my mom was very clever. She invited me to do a little bit of PR and to develop two new departments, the nature departments, because she knows that I'm very connected with nature, and also the luxury department. And this was a great adventure. It was when I started to discover the beauty of Portugal, especially here in the Algarve, because sometimes we live in a place, but we don't discover exactly this place. It's easier to travel abroad and not to discover what we have just next to us.
You know, you're so right on that, Ana. I was only reflecting on that recently myself. We take for granted where we are ourselves, don't we, sometimes? And sometimes we just realize when we've been traveling as well, and you think, actually, where I live is okay. Actually, it's pretty damn cool. So I absolutely relate to that.
Correct. My father always told me, well, I traveled for many countries, but at the end of the day, I love to live here.
Sure.
And the life in the Algarve is very relaxed. In reality, if I can speak a little bit about Algarve and about our way of living here, we the people living here don't like usually the month of August and July, that is the peak season, because it gets so crowded. We have amazing beach. We earn a lot of world destinations, beach world destinations, and definitely there's many people coming here because of the beach and also because of the food. That is something that in many countries, when they travel here for the first time, they don't have this awareness how good is the food and the wine, of course.
Of course.
So it gets so crowded during the peak season that in reality we just prefer that ends quickly so we can have our Algarve for us again. And I also used to make it's a joke, a kind of joke, saying that in reality, I believe that the English, the UK, and English people in general, they discover Algarve before us, because
Really.
the first hotels were built probably 70 years ago.
Hmm.
And if you go to some areas in the Algarve, it was always the English that came here. They realized that we have more than 300 days of sun per year, and they were so impressed that they decided to start to make the infrastructures. So we have some places like Quinta do Lago, Val do Lobo, now also on the western side, Lagos, that is developing on this with the international community, and people comes here even to live, especially during the winter, because it's so relaxed and it's so sunny,
Yeah.
and the food is amazing, and the cost of life it's not too high. So uh, in reality, they are part of our culture already.
Yeah. I must admit, so I've been in the industry for, a lot of years, 20, 25 plus years. And, the Algarve for me, before I ever traveled to the Algarve myself, I used to sell the Algarve to clients. And most of the clients that were going in the low season, which is kind of, the sort of autumn, winter, and sort of early spring, an awful lot were golfers, because you've got a huge number of incredible golf courses. So for our listeners out there, any of you that are really into golf, you probably already have heard of the Algarve, and what the Algarve has to offer. But it's been huge for golfing, I think, over the years, right?
Yes, definitely. And we are very strong on that. In reality, we are considered the best DMC in golf, the best destination management company in golf. We work a lot with UK also, of course. And between February till end of May, and then from end of September, October, especially till in November, it's a peak season for us on golf also. And yeah, we have more than 40 golf courses over here, some of them just next to the sea. The quality of the golf courses, comparing even with Spain, at least for I don't work especially with golf, but this it's said by our tour operators that the quality of the golf courses here are really, really good. Uh, Even sometimes they mention, okay, if we compare to Spain, they are a little bit more expensive, but they are better also, and the quality of the service is better. So they used to come here quite often. We have a lot of golfers coming here, and they are dying to start again the trips, because they keep postponing with this COVID,
Yeah.
and they are dying to come back. Yeah.
And it's especially great during the low season, of course. But I noticed, I was looking on the Domitur website, and for everybody out there, it's domitur.pt, I should say, if you're interested in having a look. And I was looking at some of the other sort of sports tours that you guys organise as well. Now, I'm a huge tennis player, and what's driven me crazy over the past 2 or 3 months is I haven't been able to play tennis here at all. So we're in the winter in the UK. And also we're banned from playing tennis at the moment. And I usually play 3 times a week. But I have been to Alvor in the Algarve some years ago, and I've got to say the quality of the tennis facilities down there is absolutely second to none as well. They've got these incredible clay courts, the proper European clay. And for me in the UK, and I guess for a lot of our listeners in the US as well, We don't have so much clay courts, but in the Algarve, you've got some beautiful clay courts, and you've got the right climate for tennis as well. So I would imagine pretty big for tennis too. And genuinely, when I was looking at it this morning on your website, I was thinking, you know, at the end of all of this, I think I could quite fancy a tennis holiday to the Algarve too.
True, because we also receive a lot of groups for tennis and active holidays. Also in the Algarve, due to the temperature here, because even during the low season, the temperature is very mild. We have today, it's a sunny day with 16 degrees outside.
Oh,
So,
wow.
and we can get even, I love to recommend to come to the Algarve in January to cycle, because you can even cycle on t-shirts. So, and we see a lot of people, especially foreigners, coming here, being on t-shirt during January and going to the sea. For us, of course, we consider that it's cold, but I know that comparing to other countries, it's a really mild temperature. And for that reason, we do have a lot of tennis groups, especially kids on their holidays. They come a lot here to play tennis also. Yeah, true.
Yeah, there's so much that we could talk. I should point out to our listeners, it's really hard recording these podcasts because there is so much that we could talk about. We could be talking literally all day about a destination like the Algarve, but you have so much to do. So you've got the sports, you've got incredible bird watching in the Algarve region as well. So you've got this real richness of nature, and there's so many different forms of tourism. But one form of tourism that I'd just like to sort of discuss at this juncture is cultural heritage tourism. And it's something we were speaking just off air before, because we both attended an event on Saturday just gone, which was focusing a little bit on it was brought up about the cultural heritage in different destinations. And we were talking about the importance of protecting and preserving the cultural heritage and the artifacts, the different traditions. Tell us a little bit about what you guys do in terms of the cultural kind of tours and how you're protecting and preserving cultural heritage for future generations.
Mm-hmm. That is true. This is something that, especially again, when we travel abroad, we start to realize what we have here, what we do usually on our daily life, and we don't realize. For instance, my grandparents, they belong to the inland part of Algarve, and what I believe it's very, very rich is the fact that we are speaking about about 30 minutes by car, the seaside from the inland, and you almost feel that you are in a different country because the culture is completely different. And the people living on the inland, they live specifically most of the time from the agriculture and the handcrafts, and they and unfortunately, because this is not specific from Portugal, but the new generations, we concentrate a lot our energy on developing our brain and do a lot of intellectual things, and we forgot a little bit the hands and how important is this connection with the nature. But I love to go with my family, to go to collect the olives, for instance, and to learn how to do the olive oil, or to collect some figs to dry them in the Eiras. That is a specific area that we have. Some of the houses, especially inland, they always have this air that is a round part in the soil that we dry the vegetables and the fruits, and after that we need to learn all the process, how to do the things manually. And I always think that if we have to plant what we eat, we will probably eat what 1/3 of what we eat nowadays, because we don't understand how difficult it is to live from the agriculture. And I think that is very important, to come back to the roots and to come back and understand the traditions here, the handcraft, and the pottery that we do also in the Algarve, and to paint that. So the artisans that we have spread all over the region, it's really incredible to visit and to work with them. This is something that we love to promote, And then also on the food side, if you want to think that the way they cook in the inland is different from the seaside, and to have the opportunity to be with the families, because what you can get when you come to Portugal, I always say, if you are looking for the best service ever, you will not have it in Portugal. You probably will get it in Asia, okay? But if you if you want to be with humble people that will receive you on their own place and treat you like family, and teach you the small things of life and having fun, because everything, the Portuguese culture is everything is around the table. So to eat, to be with the family is very strong still in Portugal, and to learn all this, to go outside to collect the vegetables to cook. It's something still very present in our daily life, especially in the inland side. And the other day, João Mist was with you. They have a beautiful project with that we cooperate with them. It's called the Taza, that they recover all these traditions, and even doing the sticks to walk, to when you do a walking tour. It's some activities that we can provide to our clients, that usually they get so satisfied. Or even the other day, I went to visit one of our suppliers, has also the honey. So how to work with the bees, and to take the honey, and to distinguish the honey from rosemary, from the orange. We have amazing orange in the Algarve. So it's so nice experience to understand how it is the process. And the bee, usually it's less than 1 month. They live more around 1 month. So, and we don't have this in mind. So there's so many details that you can learn.
I absolutely love this, because as well, I know you guys at Domitur, obviously proudly Portuguese, company in this regard anyway, but you work with all of these local artisans and local businesses as well, to help ensure that the economic benefit of tourism is going straight back into the destination and helping the destination. And I think that's what's really starting to to come across to me as being important for low season traveller. We're trying to work with organisations who, I suppose it's the opposite of exploitative tourism. We always think in our source markets, we always think, well, I have the right to travel anywhere, and we're not thinking about where's that money going though, because if it's going to a UK company that has set up in Portugal, it's kind of different. The money's not always going and getting filtered straight into that local community and economy. And I think more and more people now want to know, and this is sustainable tourism, it's responsible tourism. It's about, if I'm going to travel to Portugal with my family, and boy, I would love to very soon, I want to know that my being there with my family is going to be not only of benefit to me and my family, but benefit to that local community, and that the money that we spend is going to benefit Portuguese or Algarve local communities. And I think that to me is really important, and I think that's why we're delighted to work with you guys at Domitur. Anna, we're coming up to the end of our first episode, but you're going to join us again in 2 days' time for the second episode, where we're going to talk a little bit more specifically about one of the tours which you're promoting at the moment for the low season, which is the walking tour of the Algarve. But for now, Anna, thank you so much for your insights today, and really looking forward to catching up in the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you for the invitation.
So there you have it. Huge thanks again to Anna from Domitur, and please do join us on Thursday for the next episode, where we'll be catching up again with Anna to learn more about some of the specific low season tours which you can enjoy later this year in the Algarve. If you'd like to see the keynote which I recently gave to the Impact Travel Portugal event audience, then please do head over to the live talks section of the lowseasontraveller.com site. Finally, if you haven't already done so, please do like and follow the Low Season Traveller pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter to see all of our new latest content and be in with a chance of winning top stays in some lovely properties, which of course are all responsible and sustainable as well. And you'll also be the first to know about our latest Low Season Traveller live updates. And that's it. That's our podcast done for this week, episode 100. I'd love to say that I'm about to pop open the champagne, but that's not going to happen. But anyway, I hope you're all keeping well. Thanks as always for your company. Have a great week. Stay healthy, stay safe, keep your travel dreams alive, and don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and social networks. And finally, remember that now, more than ever, travel is better without the crowds.